This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
Hurdle and Goudreau on the draw. Hurdle muscled it back. Brandon Saad tips to Petrangelo. Knifed one in front. Blocked by Faber. Couldn't get it out. Hurdle scores. Tomas Hurdle opens the scoring in game one. The Knights win the draw. Theodore has a lane. Fake the shot over to Dorofeev. Scores. Just 5 seconds into the power play. Set up nicely. And Pavel Dorofeev has his first career Stanley Cup playoff goal. The Golden Knights have a 2-1 lead.
I think both teams, play disciplined when they don't have the puck, and there's a commitment to check the right way. And when you play against that style of team, or they play against a style of team like us, unless there's a major breakdown, it's hard to get any easy ice. And I think coming into the series, we knew that was going to be part of it, and I think tonight played that way out.
It's time to drop the puck.
That's Hines, coach of the Minnesota Wild, John Hines. The Wild lost in the wee hours of a Sunday evening to the Las Vegas Golden Knights 4-2, and they trail 0-1 in their best-of-7 first-round series, starting in the 7:02. Minnesota Hockey Immortality Pat Micheletti is a Monday piece, 9 to noon. He's an elite hockey mind. I'll learn more about that and follow him at PatMick2626. That's via Twitter, at PatMick2626. And after a brave and determined fight, our Minnesota Wild lost to the Las Vegas Golden Knights 4-2. Before we unpack the minutia and the nuance and stuff like that, for those who have some speculating and spotting up to their DNA, all right, sorry for that awful beat you may have taken last night on the over-under and or the puck line. Brett Howden is the name, and ruining lives is the game. He slid one into an empty net right as the clock went 0.0, which means the game snuck over the 5.5, and Vegas covered the -1.5 goals. And I'm like, why are they reviewing this? Who cares? Oh, wow. Went back, looked at the total, 5.5. Hey, put it on the 6. The 1.5 we know. 1.5 either way.
Right.
But that, man, if you were on the wrong side of those beats last night, might be a look in the mirror moment. And good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, and that's why you take the money line.
Mm-hmm. What, on the Vegas Golden Knights? Or you mean on the...
Yeah.
All right, 3-2.
Yeah.
All right, so... Well, clearly RIP any part of your baby bankroll, McTocket, because you just got real quiet on that. So one of those stung the bleep out of you last night, probably the -1.5, -160.
I got a text this morning that somebody might be able to go on an all-inclusive cruise after that empty netter last night.
And the plus 1.5.
And the minus 1.5 puck line on Vegas. Yeah.
And plus money on that. That was unbelievable. And the games in Las Vegas where people are, just think about this, people are spotting up and then walking to the game and watching the game. It's amazing. And between periods, they're going to Mastro's and having butter cake and going back thinking, wow, my 1.5, wow, the over 5, I had no shot, but we're having a great time and everything. And then your guy, Brett Howden, slides one about 80 feet, 70 feet.
His second of the game.
Unbelievable. Again, if that was a bad beat for you, might be a look in the mirror moment.
Can you sit in Allegiant or in T-Mobile and ride the live money line? Do we know if you can do that, or maybe that's up to the league?
Can you do that?
I think you can.
I thought that was part of the allure, specifically with Allegiant, but I'm not familiar with T-Mobile.
Yeah, I'm guessing here that you would need to have an app. It's not like we're betting Premier League and walking up, in Birmingham, which is Birmingham, and crushing Watford in a game against Aston Villa during the game.
Yeah.
And you actually have a bet shop there.
Leicester.
So, I'd say yes, you probably could.
Sweet.
Well, that's what the sports books generally say, too, is people get all emotional.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, Kaprizov hasn't had a shot in the last period and a half. I think I'm going to put 500 on the over shot and a half in the third quarter. And all of a sudden, he becomes a passing machine.
Right.
All right, here's the deal. Wild talkbacks for Pat Micheletti, if you are so inclined. This is your audio leader for everything funky and fun. So go to the free iHeartRadio app. If you have a question for Pat or any analysis from last night's 4-2 loss, free iHeart audio app. You get 30 seconds for that, and we will play it, them, or some back next segment. It's 10:10. Good morning. Boldy scored all of our goals.
Yep.
And Gustafson, beloved Bus, he had some stand on his head to him at times last night.
No question about it.
But, it wasn't enough. What'd you think of the game?
I thought it was a really, really good game. If I'm the Wild, I know they're watching the film of it now. I think there are changes that they will have to make to their game if they want to win game 2. They were close to winning game 1. Okay. It was a tight game, but I think they're going to have to make some changes going into game 2 for sure.
Mm-hmm. And we will get into those changes, and we also will preview the 10-ish p.m. tilt for tomorrow night's game. Discuss the impact of Tomas Hertl and scoring first. Specifically when you're a home team, and we have last change terrorism. The Minnesota Wild lost 4-2 and did so while having some puck luck on their side. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to unpack here, including playing some of your talkbacks in our marathon segment around the corner. Wild fans, hockey fans, free iHeart audio app. And leave up to 30 seconds. We'll do our very best to include them. Here comes Matt, producer, with the cash thing.
The Fan, along with BigDeck.com, want to give you a chance to put $1,000 in your hand with the National Cash Contest. The keyword is bank. Use the keyword bank at KFAN.com. You might win $1,000. The keyword is bank.
Men, if you're ready to reclaim your edge, listen up. I used to be held back by constant bathroom trips, with multiple wake-ups during my sleep and looking for restrooms whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Man. After just 2 months, I started experiencing fewer trips to the bathroom, less urge to go, and I even slept through some nights. I feel a noticeable boost in my overall well-being, even sexual stamina. It gives me the freedom and confidence to live life on my terms. Better Man is clinically tested and trusted by thousands of men over 25 years. Ready to take back control? Go to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
KFAN.com.
Check.
Here's Zeke Boyum on his debut.
Yeah, I didn't obviously know too much what to expect. Obviously, the guys are great, and they communicated with me throughout the entire day, obviously on the ice too, and they were amazing all night. So, it was awesome. It was obviously a dream come true to play in the NHL and to play in a game. So, sucks to lose, but we'll move on.
God, I love his attitude.
The 19-year-old.
The 19-year-old. And
Zeev Buyum had some shell shock to his face when they showed him on the bench a few times. Yeah. He's a kid at a time.
Yeah.
So we're not, he's a professional. So, if there are mistakes, and there were, well, then it's open for conversation. But like when he was on the bench and either LaPanta or the ESPN box was talking about him, eyes were, he just like, oh, wow, they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. Yeah. Holy cow, was this eye-opening.
And, I read a lot of and I should probably stay off it during the games. Rough night for Zeev Booyam.
Yeah, I think we're on the Booyam train, according to both boxes last night.
Okay, played 13 minutes. All right, that's not a ton of minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You can look at the last play, right, where he tried to get it over to Boldy. Great read and react by William Karlsson to read that play, intercept the pass. That pass connects to Boldy. There's a shot on goal, or in the back of the net.
Yeah,
he made the right play. Maybe his eyes could have been a little different. Maybe Karlsson just read that. But to say he had a rough night, I don't know if he had a rough night.
Who said he had a rough night?
Well, people.
But it's hard to analyze the night.
Noise. Yeah, right.
It's hard.
Right.
Well, hockey's hard in the first place, but let's unpack super special Zeev Booyam.
Yeah.
He
and this isn't about Zeev Booyam.
No.
I mean.
Well, yeah, it is. And I mean, with all due respect, here's why. Because you were out of the covenant a week ago because you're playing college hockey.
Yeah.
You're highly touted.
Yep.
You're also 19.
Yep.
And to be elevated into a postseason spot where you're playing 13-ish minutes means that some people, granted that maybe not the greatest players in the world, the veterans, but they're watching from the press box now because of you. That's pressure. Now, to whom much is given, much is expected. And he's going to play a lot of positive minutes in his NHL career. But Zeev had a chance, 4.5 minutes left in the second period. And he held the puck too long while analyzing to the right of Aiden Hill. Well, he got picked off from behind. I mean, it was it was the easiest interception.
Sure, he was looking to make a pass and he should have shot it. No question.
He was indecisive at that moment. And lickety split, you know that, man. You played it.
100%.
But okay,
100%.
19 years old, though, he froze. So was Zeev's debut. He's on the ice late. They're down 1. The young man, he just seems shell-shocked. Like these ain't the amateurs, man. It's the play where he turned it over and Boldy had to trip the guy next to the board, or else it was going to be a cinch empty netter. That's going to happen. But I don't think it's fair to say like rough debut, because there were some he fit in quite well moments too.
Yeah, I couldn't have laid that out any better. And and we'll get into the Wild having to shoot the puck a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I answer it this way, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Vegas is a very heavy, very big team.
Yeah.
And psychologically, as a player, when you're going down, and it's easy for us to watch on the television screen and say, shoot it.
Yeah.
When you're down on the ice and you're seeing 6'4", 6'3", bunch of bodies, it's not.
This ain't Western Michigan.
This isn't. Well, it's not Western Michigan.
Yeah.
But it's really for a player. It's like, okay, maybe I should try to make a pass instead. Mm-hmm. And in reality, get the puck off, which leads me to my next thought.
Micheletti's musings.
Yes. They went in. Nardo can check the stats. I think last night they had the second most hits they've ever had in a game.
Oh, geez.
In a playoff.
Yeah.
You are not going to outmuscle the Vegas Golden Knights.
Right.
I think by doing that, you play right into their hands. Not saying that you don't play the body, that you don't get the hits, but if they're going to beat this team, I believe they have to beat them to loose pucks. They have to make them work a little bit harder and chase you, because yes, they're big, and yes, they can skate. Everybody can skate, but they're not as fleet of foot. And if you make the bigger guys work, they're going to get tired. And there were times in that game where they did that last night.
Yep.
And
early third period.
Yes. And I'm all over the place here, but
you're excited.
I am excited because I thought they did a really good job in the first period. What scared me going in was Vegas's ability to hold the puck in the offensive zone and grind it out
in the corners.
In the corners,
yes.
Behind the net, in the slot, back to the point,
yes.
And just for long periods of time. Minnesota did a really good job of getting the puck and getting it out of the zone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they can take that a step further and start applying pressure in the offensive zone, and that's by not going in there to try to level a guy who's 2 feet taller than you and knock him into next week, but just be relentless gnats and pesty and pesty.
Like Pat the Rat.
Well, whatever. No, probably not me.
Kenny the Rat.
Linsman. Yeah, Linsman. Yeah. And so I think those are important things that they're going to have to do in game 2 going forward.
Let's marathon this.
Yeah.
This marathon segments are courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. Love these people. Customer appreciation barbecues take place May 1st and 2nd. Customer appreciation barbecues at Steve's Appliances in Mounds View, May 1st and 2nd. Go to the website to qualify to win a $3,000 GE kitchen set. stevesappliances.com, stevesappliances.com. So it's a 10:15-ish p.m. till tomorrow night.
Yes.
First puck drop's going to be around 10:15 on KFAN. So do you stay up for that one? Then watch him play Kiwoom versus Doosan in the South Korea Baseball League. I mean, the pandemic days. And
the Doosan Bears.
You know the nickname.
Yeah, well, duh.
You're finding for something to do.
Duh.
I always love Think about that. I mean, this game, I mean, if it goes overtime,
I was disappointed that
it's going to roll right up to the first 5.
You weren't with me on those to get up to watch them at 4 a.m.
Yeah, well, see, my mask was turned around and it was covering my ears.
It's really fun baseball to watch.
Yeah, it is fun baseball to watch. Just think about that term.
Think about that, right? A lot of runs are scored.
Mm-hmm.
You have 10-9, games, and so you see a lot of action.
Mm-hmm. You're going to be seeing a lot of action tomorrow night with this late start.
Yeah, I know.
Tomas Hertl. And that short side goal to start things.
Yes.
I ain't here. I just don't know enough about it to point fingers or blame. But don't you, from when you played or when you analyze now, don't you just hate when you're on the road and the home team scores first? I mean, because you got last change, first goal, and you're immediately behind the proverbial 8 ball, right?
Yes, it was a chance to control the play. Faber did not get a handle on the puck. And then Hertl, who can play linebacker for the Vikings. He is that big and strong. And
Might be able to play linebacker for the Raiders. Okay, I don't know about the Vikings.
Oh, that's true. Vikings got a good set of linebackers, don't they?
Raiders, they're taking anything.
Yeah, maybe Pete Carroll.
Become friends with Tom Brady and get $30 million.
Pete Carroll's out there. He may have been at the game. That being said, he is an animal.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, and
Sharks, right?
He was with the Sharks, got traded, and was hurt when he got traded. He did not have a good
Hertl.
Yeah, he was Hertl in the playoffs last year, and he's back now. Very good. I like that.
And Hertl's reactions what made me laugh.
Yeah,
I like my come to see LeBron leave talking about Bronny line better.
And once he got control of that puck, Faber was not knocking him off it.
Right.
I mean, and
that's a problem.
And then that shot. Come on.
Yeah.
Short side.
Yeah.
Short side.
What's bar down?
It was perfect.
Bar down.
What does that mean?
Well, the crossbar.
Yeah.
So the bar. Down.
Hits the crossbar and goes down.
Oh.
And it was, right.
Short side bar down.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
And they turned for home. Short side bar down is taking the lead by 3.
I mean, one heck of a shot. And, so that one hurt. Yes. Going down 1-0 on the road.
That sucks.
You get the
Especially
lead.
when it's late and you're pondering sleep.
Right. And every time a goal is scored and you have a lead or a 2-goal lead.
An angel gets its wings.
You change how you have the ability to change how you play.
Yeah, change your face. Like Ricky Rubio said, you got to change your face.
I like that.
You do.
I haven't heard that. Yeah.
Well, this is the dumbest question you'll get all day.
No.
It felt like watching the game last night that we may have, and not just the 54 hits, by the way, which I'm curious how the stat keeper is handling things at T-Mobile.
Right.
54-29, the hits logged last night.
Yeah.
But it felt like we set a record for the most icings in the history.
Oh, my gosh.
So my stupid question to you is twofold. What are we doing in those spots that needs to get crisper? Is there anything that they're doing to force those? Because it was an ice-a-thon last night.
It really was. I mean, for both teams for a while, right? But more so on the Wild's part. Connecting, getting in the right spots, in right positions to receive a pass. Sometimes you're under duress, and trust me, when Vegas gets when Vegas gets on their forecheck and they're going, and
they're strong.
You have no choice but to get rid of the puck.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that mean? Make the safe play, get it out of the zone, and that resulted in the number of icings that you saw.
So as part of that, what it did limit is our ability to make changes post-icing, right? And one particular player on the ice last night, Jules Eriksson-Ek, I needed him on the ice more often as he was 16 of 22 on face-offs. And this is a team, we missed him when he was gone during the season.
Yes.
That we have not won face-offs at a high clip. Right. It feels
for
like
how many years?
In a decade.
That's so elite. That's so elite.
It's very elite.
I didn't know the 16 to 22. I know Eriksson-Ek is better than Gaudreau, with all due respect to Freddie Gaudreau.
Yeah.
But if you have the biggest draw of the game coming up near the end of the game, Gaudreau gets handled on the draw. No, that was the power play, right?
That was the power play.
Yeah, Shea Theodore, he slides to the middle, and boom, boom, power play. They got a goal. It's like maybe he was just out there for a minute and a half. Okay, I kind of need Eriksson-Ek in that circle.
And that goal happened too easy, too quick, too simple.
Yeah, Theodore's nice.
Which tells you something happened on the play.
Yeah.
Well, Hurdle. Big time interference penalty.
Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was the
uncalled penalty.
Uncalled. I mean,
3-2. What happened? How'd I miss this?
I don't know how you missed it. You didn't watch. Take a look at the replay.
No, I didn't. I don't watch the games. I listen to Joe and Tom.
Hurdle did not allow Gaudreau to get out.
Oh, from the circle.
From the circle.
You cheating sucker.
He knocked him down, which then opened everything up. Right?
Yeah.
And Theodore saw the Russian, the young Russian, and so it was a simple goal. It was a simple goal.
Is it an egregious missed call?
Egregious.
Or an easy call to miss?
No, it's an egregious call. Yeah.
What about...
And people were complaining about the officials last night.
They were?
I will tell you...
Very loudly, yes.
Very loudly. But I will tell you...
Why?
You have to understand, they made the point. We're letting it go.
Yeah.
We're letting it go.
Yeah.
Now you can say, well, more maybe, Minnesota got screwed on this, on the Hartman, remember when Hartman got cross-checked in his face? But did you see?
And he got shaken up, too.
Yeah, but did you...
shaking the cobwebs out?
But did you see what Hartman did
I heard
prior to the cross-check?
What?
He tripped Haig.
Oh, wow.
And knocked Haig down.
Wow.
And that... the ref saw he saw Hartman, didn't call Hartman right away, could have put the arm up. Haig gets up, bam, right in the, which should have been maybe a major. But
I don't mind this.
Let's be fair. If you look at the whole play, you call both of them.
Right.
Both
but
guys.
I mean, it's but those analyzing or talking about it, if you come out of one side of your mouth with let them play, then at any point during this series or at other times for you to say the other side of it makes it two-faced. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like have it one way. I would prefer this way, to let them play.
Yeah, and the thing is, and this may be totally outrageous, but Vegas is a hard team to call a penalty against because they're so big. Their D are big. Their forwards are big, and when you're playing a little smaller team like the Wild, any hit looks like a penalty.
Didn't Vegas have commit the fewest penalties of any team in the NHL?
27th in the league.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I saw something that they had the fewest number and maybe fewest number of power play opportunities.
There we go. That's what I was thinking.
In the history of the NHL in an 82-game season.
Damn.
So that's how. So they're not. But that would speak to they're not calling penalties on their adversaries either.
Yeah.
So in a night where you want more than just the one shot that they have, Wild on the man advantage, they're not giving us the L very often either. So I think throughout the series, I played in the first segment with you, Pat, Hines talking about the tight checking nature of this series. I think Hines probably, whether it's maybe adjusting and trying to get more physical, you see that bloated hits number.
Yep.
What about the idea that he's not counting on man advantage? He's not counting on an excessive amount of special teams opportunities this series.
Right.
So maybe that leads to what some of the things we saw last night.
I agree, and that's where they negated a William from playing a lot of minutes last night. He's running their number one power play. Well, he had one chance at it, right?
Yeah.
And it goes back to when Minnesota played him 5-on-5 last night, Nordo, which was a majority of the game. I thought they handled things pretty well. But I don't want, I don't want them to get into a game where we have to go into it thinking we got to out hit him to beat him.
Right.
I think there's a different philosophy.
Well, what's the alternative?
The alternative.
You don't want to go racehorse against him, do you?
Absolutely, you do.
We're not really constructed to be a racehorse hockey type team.
But we're quicker and tight. I mean, look at Marco Rossi last night, and I'm going to give him a pass because
he played.
I know.
Cool.
I know. Right. But
first playoff game, right?
Where was he effective all year?
Right.
He was effective by being around the net, moving in and out, darting in and out, and making it difficult. And he was getting those goals off a rebound or a tip or something. He didn't get there last night, and it was his first playoff game. So you give him somewhat of a pass. But that being said, he's got to use his quickness. He's got to, he's got to make him chase. And
Bouillam's fast.
Exactly. And Bouillam will play more. I think Bouillam will get more involved now that he played his first game.
Yeah.
He's going to get more. He's going to get
a
more.
kid at a time.
He's a kid at a time.
He's 19.
He's 19, but he's going to get, now he's going to be a little bit more comfortable out there.
Well,
and he's good. And go ahead.
Well, you're just going backwards on Bouillam, though. He had that moment last night where he walked it up towards the net.
Yeah,
I need that shot.
Yeah, you need that shot.
Yeah, he got picked from behind.
Yeah,
it was embarrassing.
Just needed a split second. Just go. I know that Hill looks like freaking Mount Everest compared to the college keepers, but
yeah, because what's going to happen? You get the shot, and you may not score, and he probably didn't see anything that said, I see the net. Puck goes in the net. He saw the big goaltender, and this goaltender is a monster.
Right.
He's big.
Was it the Western Michigan guy who was like 5'5"? No. Who did they beat? BU?
They beat BU, and they beat BU.
There was a really small goalie in the Final Four. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Very cute. Isn't it cute?
Aiden Hill, though. Seriously, is he always this good?
And he, thank you for bringing him up, because I don't know if I think he is gettable. I really do. I think he has a difficult time moving laterally.
Yeah.
You saw on both of Boldy's goals, the pass that Kaprizov made, which is all world, right? And if you want to go back and look at that pass, Kaprizov didn't even look at the puck.
No.
He didn't.
But let's not shortchange Ryan Hartman on that play.
Because
Hartman had two guys around him, 2.5.
Best player in the ice for Minnesota last night.
And his stick handling to get out of that spot and get it to Kaprizov was the bomb.
He bought time. Kaprizov opened up. Okay. Anyway, Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
Does not move well side to side. On the pass, and Boldy scored that first one, he was completely out of position, right? And then on the second one,
he was out of position. That's why he wrapped it around.
Well,
he saw that.
Boldy could have ordered a pizza, had a couple pieces, and then scored.
Right.
That's how long it took him to go post to post.
Yeah. Could have picked it up from Ross Verba's place around the corner, and it's really good.
They had a great angle on a second look at it, and it wasn't even close.
Right.
I'm like, really?
Now, you realize the last time you loudly made an adversarial goaltender suggestion / prognostication.
I know where this is going.
No, you nailed it. Now, it's hockey, man.
Yep.
So it's not everything going to be, what was it, B. Crawford high or low? Which it was high.
Glove.
high glove. That's what it was. And you were loud about it.
Yep.
And then they got it early. I'm like, damn, look at Ken Dryden go with this analysis.
I watched them all throughout warm-ups. And
so what you're saying here about Aiden Hill, which sounds like a sequel to Notting Hill.
I always love that one.
It should be taken very seriously. Because of your past performances,
you have to get him moving side to side. You have to get him, or even side to middle, or because he doesn't move well. If he's a stationary goalie, guess what? Good luck getting it by him.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
He's a
because
rock.
He looks like Sasquatch in there.
Yes, he does.
Okay, and so you get him moving. Another big guy. Goes back to my point of Minnesota beating them to loose pucks. Everything quick.
Yep.
Quick passing.
Love it.
You don't hold the puck.
Yep.
And then you get them looking and chasing, and you'll get more opportunities.
All right, Nordo controls a lot of wonderful things right now. He controls the cash thing, which we did at the end of the last segment. No. Okay. He controls tickets to the Vikings draft party Thursday, which I believe we're giving away within the next 45 minutes. He controls the talkback machine, and he controls his microphone, and he has really good takes. What's going on over there?
Oh, I got a question, then I will get to a talkback. But whose L is it when Boyum was left on an island? I think it was Saad who came in alone, got caught in a change, and then later on, it was Eichel in alone.
Right.
And so it's a close game, it's the playoffs, tight checking, all of this. But those are two instances which are absolute cataclysmic L's.
Yeah,
if they score on those.
Yep.
And I just don't know who I should be focusing my ire on.
For me, on the Eichel breakaway, I thought Brodin was at issue there. Okay, Faber was to the right, far to the right. So Brodin's got to move to the middle a little bit more.
Well, the Saad bit was a bad change.
Yeah, I'd have to go back.
Yeah, it was a shoddy change. The guys were late to get on. Saad takes off.
Yep.
And you talk about a piece of puck luck. That's hockey. It hits the post.
Right.
I mean, we had serendipity on our side.
Yeah, his entire career has been beating the Wild. On Brandon Saad.
Yeah, and he's got 4 rings too.
Wow.
3 or 4, something
Blackhawks,
like that.
though, right?
Yes, yes. But I think Brodin was a little bit out of position, which and there was you saw how open it was, right? And it was easy for him to go in. So I thought Brodin should have been more to the middle there. But anyhow,
Alan Horton from Los Angeles around the corner. We got to talk back now, though.
Yeah, we do. This has been the focus of all the talkbacks Wild related, is how frustrated they are with some of the missed opportunities for a power play.
McTocket, how did they not call the face-off trip on Gaudreau before the power play goal? And even more egregious, how do they not call the cross-check to Hartman's face when every ref, every ump in there is looking in that corner because that's where the puck is and half the players are? Thanks.
I already alluded to the Hartman. I think it was you tripped him. You'll get the cross check. I'm not calling anything. But that being said, usually they get the second guy, and the second guy was Haig, and the official was right there. So there's no question. And it could have been a major because Haig is like 6'4", 6'5". Hartman's not quite 6.
Right.
And, he got him up high and should have been.
All right. During the course of the week, if we have you back on at some point, because you're an elite hockey mind, I got things here that I just really wish we had gotten to.
Okay.
Like the linesman becomes the ref during the second period.
And he wears jersey.
Well, right. But I was wondering about puck drops. Like, just seriously, like puck drops and other facets of the game, it's hockey. So, people don't pay as close attention to this as they do if Hunter Wendelstedt has to leave a playoff game as the home plate umpire, and now all of a sudden the high strikes aren't going to be called, Bill, stuff like that. Also, Spurgeon has lost velocity on his slapper. And I'm not, it's the first time I've ever said that, but there were some opportunities last night, man, and I ain't saying that he should have gotten them. But he just whacked away, and nobody's expecting a Brian Ralston Covenant to break out. But it just was a lot softer than he used to be.
And Hartman set him in. and as he was going down that right side, let that slapper go. And, and that was the one that, it should have gotten through the arm of Hill. And it didn't, maybe because of the velocity. You're right.
You're elite, brother. That's Pat Micheletti at Pat Mick 2626. When we return, back to the Howl with a radio play-by-play voice, Alan Horton joining 9 to noon.
Men, if you're ready to reclaim your edge, listen up. I used to be held back by constant bathroom trips with multiple wake-ups during my sleep and looking for restrooms whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Man. After just 2 months, I started experiencing fewer trips to the bathroom, less urge to go, and I even slept through some nights. I feel a noticeable boost in my overall well-being, even sexual stamina. It gives me the freedom and confidence to live life on my terms. Better Man is clinically tested and trusted by thousands of men over 25 years. Ready to take back control? Go to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.
Got to keep playing with pace right through the finish line. They've slowed down a bit here in the fourth. Anthony Edwards against Luka, isolated left side of the floor, setting him up. Ant sidestep, thought about the pull-up three, instead off to Nikhil, right back to Ant. He'll line up the three ball, stroke it! Catch and shoot three, Anthony Edwards. He's got 3 more, 22 for the game to go along with his 7 assists and 6 rebounds.
Keep running Luka into ball screens.
Fox. Alan Horton, radio play-by-play voice for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Jim Peterson by his side for Game 1 from Crypto.com Arena. And here comes the Vox joining us from Southern California. And Alan was firing bullets Saturday night on KFAN. And we will hear him and the Timberwolves again tomorrow around 9 o'clock with Game 2 from Los Angeles. Mr. Alan Horton, it's Paul Allen. How are you?
PA, great to be out with you. How are you?
Pretty well. So for a Monday in Southern California, 8:50-ish in the morning, mid-50s, kind of foggy. What's on the docket today?
We got a little practice today. That's what's on the docket. Get a little food, get a little work done before heading off to practice, and the guys will get back on the floor. They get a rest day yesterday,
That's
kind of a recuperating day. Some of the guys who didn't play will got some work in. You always want to keep those guys ready. And, we'll see where things look like today. And then, it's kind of a long wait when you have 2 days between a game. But the Wolves have kind of been through this before. Remember the Memphis series 3 years ago?
Yeah.
It's a very similar situation. The Wolves stun a higher seed on their home floor in Game 1. In that Memphis series, it felt like a long time before the Wolves played again, and they got blown out in Game 2. We'll see what they've learned, if anything, from that experience, because you had an opportunity to really get yourself in that series with Game 2, and I think there's a different mindset. I think these guys are more experienced. A lot of the guys have gone through that experience and probably remember it. We'll see if Chris Finch brings it up today, but I've got to think that's. It got some ties to a lot of these guys because they went through it just a couple of years ago.
Alan, when Luka was scoring all those points in the first quarter, did you permit yourself to become a bit nervous and twitchy and wondering which way this thing was going to go?
Absolutely. He was on pace for like a 50-point game. He was obviously going to have to rest a little bit of the second quarter, but the way he was going, I didn't know how the Wolves were going to slow him down. And but boy, that all changed after one quarter. Even though he had such a hot first quarter, the Wolves were only down 7. And then when he went to the bench, it all changed. And the Wolves put their foot down defensively. Lakers had nothing going offensively. Nobody else was in rhythm. And the Wolves took advantage. And just once you get things rolling, boy, it was almost the entire second quarter and deep into the third quarter before the Lakers finally found their footing. But by that time, they're down by 27 points. It was quite a run, especially to have one that goes through halftime too. Halftime feels like, it's a good 15, 20, 25 minutes by the time you're playing again. And to continue a run like that is pretty impressive.
Fox. How intense, in your estimation, or with your trained eye, how intense and ferocious was Julius Randle, especially taking the fight to LeBron James?
He did. He did. He's big. He's physical. I think he was relishing going up against his former team. It's surprising. I hadn't looked when we acquired Julius Randle, you do the research and you're looking at regular season stuff. I hadn't looked at a lot of postseason stuff. I didn't realize this is only his third trip to the postseason. The other night was game one was only his 16th career playoff game, and he's not had a lot of success and not played well in the postseason. So I thought he was really good. He did have the 7 turnovers, but overall the turnover numbers were 10 for the game, and you can definitely live with that as a team. But his physicality, just going for the ball and colliding with Luka, knocking him down, I think even sent a really good message, even though there was nothing intentional about it. And it kind of symbolized the physical style of play that the Wolves want to play with inside when the Lakers don't have a lot of size and physical play inside.
Off that, so what do you think Los Angeles does to increase the physicality tomorrow night? That was a common refrain from the losers, the Los Angeles Lakers, the losers of Game 1. I mean, Vanderbilt already tried to goad them into some stupid stuff, and I ain't saying that's physical, but I just like what can they do differently with the personnel they have to increase the physicality against a team that plays bully ball in the first place?
Yeah, I think I don't know if there's a lot of schematic things they can do. I just think it goes back to effort and playing with an aggression. And maybe, it's tough to do. They couldn't get anything rolling offensively. So it's hard to say, well, just drive the ball more. Well, there aren't lanes to drive the ball. So, I don't know how they go about it. I think it's got to be a mindset type thing more than anything. And you mentioned Vando. I kind of lost it in that third quarter because, a big part of Vando's game now, I don't remember this being a big part of his game as a member of the Timberwolves. But he seems to just be out there trying to goad better players into scuffles and getting technicals like he did with Anthony Edwards during the last meeting in the regular season. And he did it last game 1 with Julius Randle. And you get arms tangled and stuff like that. And I thought Julius was patient to a point, and then he lost it. He was like, dude, where is somebody to help break us up? Where are the refs? And I thought the refs were slow in reacting to that. And by the time they got there, well, Julius had enough and tried to untangle his own arms, shoved Vando, and he gets the technical foul. And, if Vando's going to play that game, the Wolves have to be better aware of that. And even if Vando gets tossed, I mean, that's a win for the Lakers because he's not as good as Anthony Edwards or Julius Randle or whoever he's getting tangled up with. But I thought the Wolves needed to do a little bit better job of recognizing that and what he's all about now, because apparently that's a big part of his game. I did not see that in the Timberwolves uniform when he was starting next to Karl Anthony Towns, and I thought he was a really important piece of that playoff run. I guess that was 3 years ago. That would be the Memphis series.
One thing I didn't anticipate last night, Alan, was seeing the 21 made triples. And it was a beautiful thing, and it was all part of a lopsided victory for the Wolves. But let's say you're J.J. Redick, and you're thinking about how to take some of that away in Game 2, or you're thinking as Finch, maybe you're looking at a foul disparity, and you're thinking about forcing the action inside a bit more Game 2. How do you think either that is sustained or not sustained? I'm leaning towards that end of things into tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, not only did the Wolves, hit 21 out of 42, but 27 of their 42 attempts were classified as wide open threes. So not a defender within 6 feet. And they shot lights out on those, 19 of 27. I mean, that's upwards around 70%. So that is certainly above what you would normally shoot, even on a wide open three. But the fact that you generated 27 wide open threes, that's a monster number. And so if you're J.J. Redick, you're like, yeah, we need to make some adjustments. How do we cut down those wide open threes? But their whole philosophy defensively was to close off the gaps and to play tight and show Anthony Edwards lots of defenders every time he's at the top of the key or on the wing. And now all of a sudden you spread that defenders out. Whoop, that opens up a defense. And guess what? The Lakers, it's funny. The Lakers, I don't think, they're outside of the top 10 in defense. They don't have a lot of great individual defenders. I don't think Austin Reeves is a good defender. I don't think Luka Doncic is a good defender. Jackson Hayes only played 8 minutes in that game. I think they need his size. I know he's not the answer at the center spot. They tried to bring in Mark Williams from the Charlotte Hornets and then rescinded that trade. But they missed size in front. And I think there's a big difference between regular season and postseason. It's just, I've seen this play out year after year where teams are able to have success in the regular season, you're able to mask a lot of issues during the course of a season when teams don't have a chance to prepare. They don't get a chance to see some film. They do some cursory stuff, but you're so often facing a team on a second of a back-to-back, fourth game in 5 nights, those type of things. But when you get in the postseason series and you let these coaches at this level prepare for an opponent, now they can pick apart weaknesses. And I think we saw the Wolves pick apart a lot of weaknesses for the Lakers. They don't have depth. They don't have size and strength and physicality inside. Yeah, they've got Luka, but they didn't allow LeBron James to get going. They cut him off in transition, which they wanted to do. Like I said, Austin Reeves can get going offensively. I think you have to attack him defensively as well. And I just thought the Wolves did a really good job of picking apart some of the holes that the Lakers have.
Well, Rudy Gobert, part of that size conversation, part of having an advantage into the series, relatively quiet night for him. And ultimately that kind of worked when you're shooting the way you are on the perimeter. It just makes sense. And he got to chill a little bit, only played 24 minutes. But how do you look at deploying Rudy in a series like this moving forward?
Yeah, I think the foul trouble sort of threw him out of whack and out of the rotations out of whack in that first half. But the key number to Rudy's numbers are, is not the 2 points and the 6 rebounds. It's the plus 14 in 24 minutes. He's being impactful, had the big block on LeBron James, which triggered a fast break 3 in the third quarter. So Rudy didn't have tremendous numbers or a tremendous game, but he was solid in the time he was out there. And that's where the Wolves' depth came in. They're 8. Chris Finch has said it all year. He feels like he's got 8 starters, and we've seen it. All 8 of those guys have started and played well. You can play them in different combinations. I mean, the group that started the second quarter, I can't remember exactly who it was, but it was a group that only played 12 minutes together all season, and they came out and were like a plus 11 in those first 5 minutes, which was huge. That set got the ball rolling downhill. So it just speaks to the Wolves' depth, but. If Rudy can stay out of foul trouble, and that's tough to do because Luka's hunting all these matchups, and he'll try to take advantage of that and get him in foul difficulty again. But the key thing is that the Wolves didn't panic or it didn't blow up their game plan just because Rudy got in some foul trouble, and that's where their depth came in, like I said.
Alan, time for 1 or 2 more. Off what you said earlier about the Lakers increasing the physicality. Do they post, and I forgot to ask Finchy this earlier, do they post up LeBron much? Because it just seems in a situation like this, and as big and strong as he is, that you post him up and he's going to get calls more than he's not. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah, and his passing is elite. So if you double him, or he can score out of it, he can draw free throws, he can kick out. So yeah, that might be one area where they try to attack more. I can't recall a whole more than maybe 1 or 2 post ups from LeBron. That might be a good way to get him going, and put some pressure on the Wolves defense, because I thought the defense was really good, just really solid. They just, anytime you can hold an offense that's got Luka and LeBron and Austin Reeves, just hold them, and the shot clock's all of a sudden down to 8. Now it's down to 6 and 4, and you're like, well, they haven't generated a good look at all. That's solid defense. And what the Wolves' solid defense, I thought, triggered their transition game. And I thought the pace of play was so good in game 1. I thought it was one of the biggest keys. And Chris Finch had talked about it all week leading up, like, we want to win that transition battle. And he's talked about being more of a transition team ever since last summer. And it's happened at times during the regular season, but certainly not consistently. Timberwolves are one of the slowest teams in the NBA. They don't average a lot of fast break points. But their defense triggered a very fast pace of play. The ball movement was there, was 29 assists, but 25 points in transition. LA has a real problem defending in transition, and that's why the Wolves wanted to push it so much, and they did. But I think it all stemmed from their defense.
All right, lastly, my brother, whether it's your opinion or kind of known league-wide or perceived league-wide about Luka Doncic, is he considered a front runner? In that he just stops playing defense and kind of lollygags up and down the court when things aren't going his way.
I would say so. Yeah, I think he's got that in him. I don't know. He's just so talented at the offensive end. It's just it sort of defies what you're looking at. Like, why? he's not fast. He doesn't jump high. I know he's got size, but he's just so effective. And it's amazing watching him up close and personal, how successful he is with that size and frame. It's very much a smaller version of a Jokic, right? Where he's not jumping the highest, not running the fastest, but his deceleration, his stopping ability is elite. It's not the burst of speed, from 0 to 100. It's the 100 to 0. He stops on a dime, and this is what's made James Harden so good through the years. It's something Jim Pete and I were talking about on the broadcast. Their deceleration ability for guys like Harden and Doncic make them so tough. But I think he can get down. I think he can get moody, and I think we saw some of it where in the second half when he couldn't get things going, he kind of mopes a little bit, and then he can't rely on any sort of athleticism to try to make plays for hustle plays and those type of things. So I think you can get him down, and I think the Wolves did that in game one.
I appreciate you, brother. Great job Saturday night. We'll be listening tomorrow night. Have a good day, all right?
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
See you, man. That's the Vox. Alan Horton, radio play-by-play voice for the Minnesota Timberwolves. News du Nord sends us into the final hour of this festive Monday at KFAN.
Men, if you're ready to reclaim your edge, listen up. I used to be held back by constant bathroom trips with multiple wake-ups during my sleep and looking for restrooms whenever I was out. Then I discovered Better Man. After just 2 months, I started experiencing fewer trips to the bathroom, less urge to go, and I even slept through some nights. I feel a noticeable boost in my overall well-being, even sexual stamina. It gives me the freedom and confidence to live life on my terms. Better Man is clinically tested and trusted by thousands of men over 25 years. Ready to take back control? Go to BeBetterNow.com to order your supply today. That's BeBetterNow.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Use as directed. Individual results may vary.